Now that Nintendo seems to be done changing things around in New Horizons for the most part, I've looked back on an old video I made where I discussed some of the things that Nintendo removed from Animal Crossing New Horizons since launch. With the 2.0 update changing the game drastically, I wanted to see in 2022 what has gone from Animal Crossing New Horizons and will likely never ever return. Cap and Island tours were one of the big new features introduced in the 2.0 update, and getting Cap and back was really exciting. And when we got this feature and knew that we'd be going to these mystery islands, I figured that Nintendo might bring back some of the mystery islands they removed from the Nook Mile Island tours. Most notably, they removed all versions of the Hybrid Flower Islands. Now, these were incredibly popular, and players of the game loved going there back in the early days of New Horizons to collect a bunch of different hybrids. It's not like you could go there and farm a ton of them either, as these islands were pretty rare, but for some reason in a later update, Nintendo decided to remove them from the game forever. Sadly, Nintendo did not add these back to Cap and Island tours, which really surprises me, as Cap and Island tours do give you a whole bunch of other really crazy resources, including things like star fragments, so the fact that Nintendo decided never to bring back Hybrid Flower Islands was definitely a disappointment. Personally, I found these islands to be some of the most exciting to get, and I know a lot of people will agree with me on that. Most likely Nintendo wanted to make sure people had to work for their hybrid flowers, but at the end of the day, they could still take them from a friend or someone else's island. The fact that these hybrid flower islands were so rare as well gave players more of a challenge and more to work towards, and I definitely spent a ton of Nook Miles back in the day in order to try and get to these islands. It honestly does make me pretty sad that newer players will never have the joy of finding a hybrid flower island. They were so beautiful to find, and honestly there's really nothing else like them now in Animal Crossing New Horizons. As I'm sure you know, the 2.0 update introduced back every single missing Animal Crossing character. We're talking Digby, Gracie, Lyle, you name it. All of them can be brought back to the game, mostly using your amiibo cards at the Roost or in Happy in Paradise. However, this exciting update had a negative consequence for a feature that I personally really loved. Before the 2.0 update, you could scan in the amiibo cards of the special characters to the Nook Stop in Resident Services, and the characters would actually talk to you and give you a piece of really cool, unique dialogue which you couldn't see anywhere else in the game. These were all really specific to the characters, and of course this dialogue appeared since you weren't able to invite these characters to the campsite, so they had to kind of reject you in their own way. Now, since there's so many special characters available in the game that you could potentially scan in, they've instead decided to remove all of this dialogue, and now when you scan in an amiibo card or a figure at the Nook Stop, it'll basically just turn you away. Now, the compromise here is the fact that we do get a ton of new dialogue from these characters at the Roost and also in Happy in Paradise, which is really cool. But personally, I really love this sort of mini Easter egg. I just found it really cool to scan these characters in and get some really unique dialogue from them. After all, cool little secrets and Easter eggs like this that give the characters more personality is what makes Animal Crossing as a series great in my opinion, so to see some of that taken away definitely feels like a bit of a shame. However, I don't really feel like we lost anything super significant here, it's just something that was really nice. The fact that you can still interact with these characters at the Roost and Happy in Paradise is really nice, and I'm happy that they've given them a ton of new dialogue that we can dive into. Now that 2 years have come and gone, one thing that we can definitely say has been removed from Animal Crossing New Horizons forever is Nature Day, which was a mini kind of event they introduced Leaf with way back in 2020 when we got our first major update for the game. Now, I really like this event. The fact that you could get a ton of extra Nook Miles by doing all kinds of green tasks around your island was really great, and to this day, I have no clue why they decided to permanently remove this from the game. It wasn't available back in 2021 either, so this basically confirms that we will never ever see Nature Day again in Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm thinking that, like with the Hybrid Flower Islands, maybe Nintendo thought that people could get just too many resources from this and just get way too many Nook Miles, but personally I don't really feel like this event was much of a problem. It was just a nice little bonus for those who wanted to do lots of green stuff around their island. In a weird kind of way, it is cool that it was basically a limited time event that sort of happened in real time and never appeared again. That's very common for games like Pocket Camp, for example, where they all sort of happen in real time, it's a live kind of service, and that Nature Day event was kind of our first real example of that in Animal Crossing New Horizons. That being said though, I definitely would have liked it to return. Nook Miles can be hard enough to get sometimes, so I feel like having a little event which just helps people get more is a really nice thing, and I definitely appreciate it when they added it to the game. They could have even expanded upon this as well and made it a fully blown event in the game, but it just wasn't meant to be. We did get stuff like the wedding season and the stamp rally in the museum, which are pretty cool, but personally I would have rather had Nature Day where you can actually get some rewards that you really want. I'm definitely speaking for myself there, I know, but I do realize that a lot of people really miss this event too. I'm just going to make a super quick reference to this one, as I did mention it in other videos, but I feel like I have to include it just to keep things all nice and tied up in this video. The stone museum is effectively not in the game anymore. Now, if you did keep your museum as this stone version before the 2.0 update, then you'll still have it, so it does kind of exist, but players can now no longer get it at all at any point in the future, as they completely removed this step in the museum, and now you just get the art exhibit automatically once you upgrade the museum from a tent. Personally, I'm really disappointed in this, but I've already said a lot on this topic before, so I'll basically just move on with this one. Now, naturally, Nintendo was gonna remove this one from the game, but it doesn't make me miss it any less. It is the fact that you could previously decorate the third level using a glitch. Now, you can still glitch up there, that's something you can do, but now Nintendo has patched it out so you can no longer decorate up there at all, which did actually affect quite a lot of people's islands and force the items they already had up there to go back into their recycling boxes. This is one of those unprecedented removed features where basically it did affect a lot of people's islands. Most other changes on this list are things that kind of happen outside of your island, whereas this one was a bit more significant. Still though, at the end of the day, this was a glitch. It wasn't an intended feature within the game, so naturally Nintendo was going to remove it at some point, but none of us knew exactly when. I'm still pretty disappointed about this. I felt like it was really harmless and they could have honestly just turned this into a feature. I really don't know what they have against us decorating on the third level. Maybe they just feel like it's too overwhelming for people, but then again, people don't have to decorate on the third level if they don't want to, so I don't see why they would take it away for that reason. But let me know in the comments section down below, what features have you noticed going missing in Animal Crossing New Horizons since the launch of the game that you want to see back, and which on this list are you most eager to see return maybe in a future entry? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you made it to the end of the video, then be sure to comment Bob's Gang down below so I know that you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. I want to say thank you to these channel members for supporting me and the content that I make here. Their contributions allow me to keep making videos. If you want to support these videos and get some great perks for doing so, like access to our members only Discord, exclusive Bob emojis and live streams and much more, then click the join button down below the video or the link in the description.